the death of Full Gospel and the birth of City Reach. That was the absolute hardest time for my wife and I. December 18th was our last Sunday at Full Gospel. You know that a church has made an impact on people's lives when people fly in from Tennessee and Arkansas just for the last day. And it also told us, hey, this building is done too, because the Saturday night before that last Sunday, the heaters quit. And that was when a cold front came in. So it was 56 degrees in the sanctuary. We brought out space heaters, and my wife and I were rejoicing that, wow, this is the last time we got to do this. We started that service singing Victory in Jesus because we believed that it was a victory. And we ended that service with the vision of City Reach and what we're going to be all about. And it's what my life is all about. It's what my wife's life is all about. And we do this every single day. It's the lifeblood. It was the lifeblood of Full Gospel. It's the lifeblood of City Reach Downey. And it's a story you all have heard so many times before. It's found in Mark chapter 6, starting in verse 30. It says, the apostles returned to Jesus from their ministry tour and told him all they had done and taught. Then Jesus said, let's go by ourselves to a quiet place and rest a while. He said this because there were so many people coming and going that Jesus and his apostles didn't even have time to eat. So they left by boat for a quiet place where they could be alone. But many people recognized them and saw them leaving, and people from many towns ran ahead along the shore and got there ahead of them. Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. The first thing that we see there is that Jesus saw the crowd. And so when he looked up and he saw the crowd, he saw the need. So the first thing that we have to do in any aspect, whether you're a pastor of a church or whether you're working in a network office or whether you live in the neighborhood, you have to see the need first. At Full Gospel, when we got there, it was dead, man. My first Sunday, we had 30 people. And it was like 90% white people in a 99.7% Hispanic town. I started looking and I started seeing all the single moms. I started seeing all the poor families, and I saw the dearth of grocery stores. It was a food desert. But I'm not going to lie to you, at first I saw my own situation. And I said, man, we got to grow this church. We got to grow this church. And I'm coming from Springfield, Missouri. All right? I've also learned Springfield, Missouri doesn't work in LA. But in Springfield, Wednesday night is a given. People come on Wednesday nights. But man, Wednesday night, we'd have like 10 people. And I go, if I could just get more people here on Wednesday night, and I could disciple them. I got really spiritual. I could disciple them, and then they'd go invite people, and on Sundays we'd be massive. It'd be like the Dwight Thompson days all over again. And I was like, well, how am I going to get them here on Wednesdays? And I sat there, and I go, well, okay. In Springfield, it takes 20 minutes to get everywhere, so that's why they don't have to deal with traffic. Here, they get out of work at 5. They finally get home at about 6:30, 6:45. The last thing they want to do is drive to church, because if they have the choice between eating and going to church, they're going to eat, because that's what I would do too. So I said, I'll feed our people. And as I'm praying for God to bless my plan, I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, Shawn, have you not looked around? You need to feed Bell Gardens. And I said, God, have you looked at our bank account? How am I supposed to feed Bell Gardens when we can barely keep the lights on? I said, God, I'll take it to the team. Because that's the spiritual way of saying no, God, because the team will say no. So I got my wife in there. She didn't know this. I hadn't told her. I didn't even tell her at home in our staff meetings that we have at home. I didn't tell anybody. And then I bring everybody together, and I was like, hey, guys, I'm just thinking about this thing. What if we do this thing where we feed Bell Gardens and what do you guys think? I don't know. It'd probably cost us about $200-300 a week, and oh, that's a great idea, Pastor. And I go, what? Okay. I guess we're going to do it. And we were walking back. My wife and I lived in a little 500 square foot cottage behind the church. Thank God we're not there anymore. And we were like walking back, and Megan goes, that was a really good idea, Shawn. Where did you come up with that? And I was like, what do you think I do all day? She's like, I was wondering. So first time we did it, we had like 67 people that we fed. The next week, it was 70-something. The next week, and it just kept growing and growing and growing until the point where we were feeding anywhere from 125 to 175 people every Wednesday night. And then having like 80 to 100 stay around for small groups. And not all of them started coming on Sundays, but some did. And we saw our church shift from this white church that everybody looked down upon in the community to now we were the church that fed people. Because we saw the need. But you also got to feel the need too. So you go back, when I told you about the apostles, they hadn't had a chance to eat. I think the apostles, when they come up to Jesus and they say, late in the afternoon, his disciples came to him and said, this is a remote place. It's already getting late. Send these crowds so they can go down to Walmart, so they can go to Ralph's, so they can go to Vaughn's and get something to eat. It's because the apostles were hungry. But Jesus also felt their need. He felt their spiritual need. He felt these guys, they need to know me. And this is how we're going to do it. He goes, you do it. You feed them. It's one thing to see the need. You can see the need all day long. I could walk the streets of Bell Gardens. I can walk some parts of Downey. I can walk Southgate. I can walk Bell, and I can see the need all day long. I can even feel the need. I can feel what it'd be like to be a single mom, having to walk all the way to the bus and then take a bus all the way into Downey to go to a grocery store, or walk down to the liquor store and get just a couple things for my kids to eat, some ramen noodles. I could see that. I could feel that. But if all I do is see and feel, then I'm not doing squat. I got to do something. And Jesus said, you do it. And they said, but this is all we got. We just have 5 loaves and 2 fish. Well, I'll tell you something. When you take your 5 loaves and 2 fish and you give it to Jesus Christ, he's like, all right, now watch me do something with it. At Full Gospel, we were a 5 loaves, 2 fish church. We didn't have much. But there were days that somehow, some way, we were able to feed a bunch of people. I remember the first time that the entire Bell Gardens freshman football team came. I'd bought 150 pieces of chicken, and I'm going, we're not going to have enough chicken. We fed 178 people that day and had chicken left over. And I never limited people with what they eat. And football guys, they eat a lot. So you got to see the need. You got to feel the need. And then you do something about it. That was the life calling of Full Gospel. And that's the life calling of City Reach Downey. A church, a 5 loaves, 2 fish church that sees the need, feels the need, and does something about it. And let's be a network that does that same thing.